So the audio is working, right?
All right.
So what's your preferred art style?
Hold on.
I guess like the type that you do the most.
Let me find a page.
Just to talk so
Oh, okay.
So yeah, like walk me through it.
This is what I normally do.
Okay.
I
have no
also-
idea what the style's called, but I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Technically speaking, it's from me failing to do Legend of Zelda art, but
Okay. Sounds good.
okay.
We are
Wonderful.
streaming.
That Hello, and welcome to Draw with Kat. I am your host, Kat. Here, hold on, we're having camera troubles. Okay, we're good. As I was saying, welcome to Draw with Kat. I am Kat. Bodies. Last week we did hands, and the first week we did faces. The second week we did hands. This week we're going to try to put all of it together. Heads up that this may be a bit scuffed because this is one of the things I'm not the best at, but I'm going to show you what I know, and yeah, let's draw. Let me get to the right page. Hold on. Other way. So here we have some anatomical skeletons that I pre-printed out. With this, I'll be able to show you some things. The human body is about 10 heads tall. Heads being what we typically use to measure how tall someone is. Adults are 10 heads tall. I think children are either 5 or 4 heads tall. I'm going to put that to the side so we can draw. Of course, because the head is what you use to measure, you start with the head. Shoulders are about half a head wide on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is about how tall we're going to be. When you're just doing the rough sketch, you can just draw the pelvis as a square or a triangle and the rest of the joints as circles. From there, you just have to start filling in. It's a bit more complicated than this, but that's the general idea. Now, last week I showed you how to do some pixel art, but I didn't get to show you how to polish pixel art because, well, the video ended up too long. This week I decided it would be neat to show you guys how I polish pixel art. So roll video. So originally I wanted to do a much more complicated pixel art, but because of how much I was zooming in and out on that video, the sped up version gave me a headache, so now you get circle. I start off almost all of my pixel art in this program called Pixel Art. It's an in-browser program. It's free and it gets the job done, and I recommend it if you're starting out in pixel art. Polishing just means finishing up the piece, giving it lights and shadows, making it look fancy. Sometimes I do this directly inside of Pixel Art, the browser program I was talking about earlier. Other times I use either Photoshop or Krita. This time I used Photoshop. At home I typically use Krita, but when I'm at school I use Photoshop. The only real problem about this is that because I'm switching between Krita and Photoshop so much, I forget what the hotkeys for both of them are, and every time I open each of the programs I have to relearn them all over again. I'm achieving this shading mostly through different blend layers. Typically I go between multiply, overlay, and color dodge. I just cycle between all of those until I get a result I like. I'm also using the dissolve layer effect, which is used to get that real nice dithering. I use both gradient shading and dithering in this. You can make up for yourself which one you prefer. When working with lights and shadows, you have to be always aware of where the light is coming from. In this case, it's coming from above and slightly to the right. When you look at shadows in real life and how they're cast, there's always a little bit of light there at the bottom. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial here, and I hope you learned something. Well, something I forgot to say earlier is that the hands are a little bit below the pelvis. Art is just remembering, especially with anatomy, where things are in relation to each other. As long as you keep it in mind, you'll be fine. And now, I will see you soon. Probably much sooner than you're thinking. Yeah, much sooner than you were probably thinking. Because I wasn't here last week, I am doing both of my both my streams in one go. And this is the last Draw with Cat. It's been rather surreal. Through Draw with Cat, I hope you learned a little bit about drawing hands, faces, and bodies. I don't think I'm the best teacher, but I tried my best. We got to use entirely new equipment, introducing the crane, something that was bought a few years ago and wasn't used until I mentioned, hey, I'd like to be able for people to see what I'm drawing. Anyways, again, I hoped anyone who watched this learned a little something about drawing. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.
Been thinking to myself, a little fish speaking out the pond. 'Cause I've been so scared in a way I haven't before. The world's still been turning, but I've finally been circling around, around again. In the absence of comfort, trying to smile like then. Oh, a fickle thing is love, eyes up for the recital. Could it fluttering or fly too high? In the absence of comfort, trying to stop.
G'day folks, my name is Banjo Bodie and you're watching the Bargain Safari, the show where we experience the wonders of nature at a bargain. Today is particularly special as I myself, Banjo Bodie, go out into the real world of nature to show you guys a first-hand look. We'll dive into that a little bit later, but first we're going to make a stop in the wilderness of northern Canada to take a look at some fascinating wildlife as well as our sponsor.
At the river mouth, the bears catch only the tastiest, most tender salmon. Which is exactly what we at John West want. John West endured the worst to bring you the best.
Wow, what an amazingly agile animal. It looks like that one knew a bit of Taekwondo as well. The brown bear, also known as the grizzly, is mainly found in northern Canada and Alaska. They primarily eat salmon and are known to hibernate for about 7 months out of the year. Thank you to John West Salmon. Alright folks, it's time for me to take a step out into the wilderness and with a little luck, maybe I'll find some critters. Hey, how you going folks? My name is Banjo Bodie. Welcome to the Bargain Safari. Today we've got a very special episode as we are out in the world, not sitting at a desk. Now, I've travelled to one of the most dangerous places on the continent, the North American Midwest. Here you'll find all kinds of crazy creatures, and you might just want to grab some popcorn because this is going to be interesting. Wow, just look at that. This landscape is home to so many creatures, as you can see. What a wonderful place. Truly inspiring. All right, folks, we're going to be real sneaky now. But I think we may have just found a habitat for one of the animals that lives in this area. That right there is a mountain goat, native to the mountains found in this area. They're very skittish and they're very protective of their Wow, what an intense journey that was. It really is a wonderful feeling to share a bond with completely and totally wild animals. All right, folks, I'd like to take this time to thank you for coming with me on my expeditions and making this possible. I hope that you learned a couple of fun facts and even had a couple of laughs. Even though it's time for me to hang up the hat, it doesn't mean that you have to. Get out there, see some nature, and go wild, folks. I'm Banjo Bodie, signing off.
What is up, metalheads and everyone in the underground metal scene? Welcome to It Came From Underground, the broadcast show where I do quick reviews of EPs, albums, and singles from bands that are not super well known but are starting to get a name for themselves in the scene. I'm your host, Logan Sick, and for this episode and the last episode for now, I'm going to be reviewing a single and 2 albums. And before we get to that, let's get a quick shout out to our sponsor. This episode of It Came From Underground is brought to you by Tonebridge Guitar Effects. If you are a guitarist or a bassist and you would like to get the iconic sound of some of your favorite songs, then Tonebridge Guitar Effects is the app for you. Tonebridge allows you to plug in your guitar into your iPhone or your iPad, any type of Apple device, and you'll be able to get the bass tone and guitar tone of iconic songs. And this app can be found for free in the App Store with absolutely no in-app purchases. All right then, now that I'm done giving a shout out to our sponsors for this episode, let's get started with the reviews. First, I would like to review the single for this episode. That's the one. That's the one. As you can see, this is the latest single from Embrace Your Punishment titled Made of Stone. To any of you who aren't familiar with this band, Embrace Your Punishment is a brutal death metal band from France that actually has some hardcore elements. This is a band I've known for quite some time. I mean, I discovered them around like 2020, which actually was like a year after they released their album from 2019 called Nameless King, which I really liked that album a lot. And I liked how it was really unique, how it was like a unique blend of brutal death metal and hardcore. I thought that was super cool. Like, there isn't really a whole lot of bands that I've heard that sound very similar. And since I really liked that album, I was really excited to hear what they are coming up with. And then this single came, and I'm gonna be honest, I was not disappointed with the single at all. I mean, this still has your typical Embrace Your Punishment sound. That's like very hardcore and it's very brutal. But it has some really great production. It's very well mixed as well. And this also features the vocalist from the really legendary death grind band Misery Index. That was a really cool feature. And overall, I was really excited for the single, and I really enjoyed it. And it turns out that they have an album coming out later this year. I'm really excited for that. So if you've been a longtime fan of this band, or if you've really liked their previous stuff like I have, you definitely won't be disappointed by this. Alright then, now that we got done with doing the single reviews, it's time that we finally do the album reviews. The first album that I would like to review is the latest album from Waldflusher, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, titled Unter Bronzenen Kronen. This is a black metal band from Germany. And this album I actually discovered, I was looking up atmospheric black metal bands and albums that came out this year because I really like this genre a lot. I love the atmosphere and everything. And I know there's been a lot of really good like death metal and deathcore and metalcore and grind that's come out this year. And considering that there was some really good black metal that came out like early in 2020, 2021, and last year, 2022, I honestly been kind of sleeping a lot on this genre. And when I saw this album cover and I thought it looked really nice. And then when I pressed play, I was beyond impressed with this record. Like, this is some just absolutely amazing atmospheric black metal. I mean, it's very well produced. I mean, it's honestly a really good balance because it does not have like your stereotypical true cult black metal production where it's like really raw and low quality. No, this is very well produced. It's not super produced, it's not super robotic sounding, which is absolutely a perfect blend for me. This is a very well produced record, and the guitars and the melodies, everything is just absolutely beautiful, and it's just phenomenal and absolutely just mystical in my opinion. It also reminded me a lot of the band Aglock at some points. So if you're a fan of atmospheric black metal or like just really melodic, like almost folky like black metal, like the aforementioned Aglock, or if you're like a huge black metal fan that's looking for a good album for this year, then this is definitely an album for you. This is definitely one of the best metal albums I've heard this year so far. Alright then, last but not least, the second album that I'm reviewing, and it's going to be the very last thing that I'm reviewing for this episode, is the latest album from Nithing titled Agnal Hymns. To any of you who doesn't know about this band, Nithing is a one-man brutal death metal band, I think from the United States. And this one I actually checked out, I found out pretty recently. I was actually looking for some new bands to promote for this episode, and you know, I'm an absolute sucker when it comes to like really brutal heavy stuff. And when I found out about this album, well, I mean, the album cover looks really cool, and plus when I heard snippets of the album, it was really insane. I decided to check it out, and honestly, I was not disappointed with this release at all. I mean, I think this is probably a one-man project, and if so, if it's officially confirmed, it's absolutely impressive. Because, I mean, like it's pretty insane. Like that one individual is able to make music that's this just brutal and this just absolutely creative and heavy. And I definitely just put in creative because even though this album is very brutal and it's like very like it has everything that you're expecting from brutal death metal, but it's not super generic or super like run of the mill. Like it actually it gets like super experimental at some points, and I hear some different genres. Like I hear a little bit like experimental metal here and there, and I hear some grind as well. And overall, I was really impressed, and I'm gonna be on the lookout for the future stuff that this project is gonna put out. So if you're into really heavy music, and if you're looking for some brutal death metal that's obviously brutal, but also a little bit more different and more experimental and more creative, then this is definitely an album for you. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this episode of It Came From Underground. And I really hope that this episode helped you discover more stuff. I definitely discovered a lot of stuff when working on the making of this episode, and I wanted to give these bands a shout out to all of you so you all can check them out. So yeah, once again, thank you all so much for watching this episode of It Came From Underground. And if you enjoyed this episode was all put together and mainly sponsored, and is it's been produced by DMT NWTC on YouTube. So definitely subscribe to that channel if you want more digital media content from NWTC. So yeah, guys, once again, this wraps up this episode of It Came From Underground. If you enjoyed it, once again, subscribe to the DMT NWTC channel and give this stream a like if you haven't already. We definitely appreciate the support. And once again, my name is Logan Stick. I am the host of It Came From Underground. And as always, keep it metal.
Hello guys, welcome to Animation 2 Live. My name is Joshua Miller, the host of this show, and this is pretty much the finale. I gotta say it was kind of really fun doing this, giving my view and other people's views on how to make a trailer that was just made for cinematic or animated to make a live version. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you can appreciate some of the different styles and camera styles that was on each of the trailers I showed you. But with that, thank you, and maybe I might continue this in the near future. Always, you guys have a great day, and bye.
Okay. Hi, welcome back to Wisconsin Sports in Review with me, your host, Kyler Chaudry. Badger season is starting great, being 4-1 currently. Hopefully they can sustain the great record and get to a big bowl this season. Brewers had a lot of chances in wildcard games 1 and 2 to win, but couldn't pull it off in either game. Hopefully they can add another really good pitcher or two to the roster and another big at-bat for the missed run opportunities in the offseason, as well as keeping most of the roster from the season. Bucks got Damian Lillard in a big three-way trade. I think getting Lillard will help spark the Bucks for far into the postseason and potentially win another championship as long as the players can remain healthy, and it'll also help keep Giannis happy and hopefully a Buck for life. Packers play tonight. We'll see how they respond after a big loss last week, Thursday. I think they'll come out strong and get a win tonight against the Raiders. If you like my videos, I'm going to continue my videos and be more in depth on YouTube at Wisconsin Sports in Review on a weekly basis. Subscribe to me next week after I add my first video, and I look forward to seeing and responding to all my fans and subscribers in the future. Thank you for all your help. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, welcome back to the last Kitchen Wheel Show, where we'll be recapping all the episodes and then comparing those episodes to a prior show I've done last year. Let's play the video.
When it comes to cooking, like many things, there's a lot that can be learned, with so many different recipes and differing variations. With my show, The Kitchen Wheel, I went to a random site, I got 3 recipes, and then I cooked them all. Doing this gave me experience and perspective on things that I've not done before, like seasoning shrimp or making a certain type of dough. This show drew inspiration from a project I did last year where I would mix together random things and see how they turned out. Within it, I made stuff like cream cheese on a waffle with a pickle, Sprite with chili powder, and even sardines with mustard on bread. With doing both of these shows, I've seen both constructed recipes and experimental. While both can create some interesting results, they both can lead to some disinteresting results. But maybe the best way to go about it is that both ways could be combined, to have the structure of a constructed recipe and that one wildcard ingredient that may make all the difference with that experimental recipe. All in all, it was fun to try something different and an enjoyable experience to be had either way the recipe turned out. If you are curious to see the prior project videos, you can find it under the Stogsters channel on YouTube titled Worldly Foods.
And with that conclusion, that wraps up the Kitchen Wheel. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did making it. And that's a wrap.
Hello, welcome to the final episode of the Mushroom Power Review. For the last time, we'll be talking about the newest console released, the Switch. Since it's obviously the newest console, it was only released a few years ago. It's obviously the most popular of the four I've talked about, since in recent times gaming's gotten a lot more mainstream and a lot more people are playing it. So a lot of the games that have ended up coming out on the Switch have ended up being like bestsellers of their respected series, just because so many more people are playing it. But for the final time, we'll be showing off our video game showcase of only 3 pivotal Switch games this time. But I think these ones had a lot of big impact on the Switch and how the Nintendo brand as a whole. So here's the 3 that I chose.
When it comes to cooking, like many
Yeah, so the first one on the list there was Super Mario Odyssey. It was one of the first Switch games that were released when the Switch came out, and is the newest installment of the 3D Mario series of fully world animated 3D world. But the big change to that was that the new upgrade for that one was that you could have a hat. Your Mario's hat got a friend that would turn into it, and you could change into anything you wanted, like a frog or some switches or like a Goomba, which was a very interesting aspect to the game. But it was pretty well received by the fans, for it shared a lot of similarities to Super Mario 64, which is regarded as one of the better games of all time. But yeah, so a lot of people liked that one. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the next one, was actually a re-release of the Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U, but Nintendo, a lot of people were thinking that they would make just a new one for the Switch, but instead Nintendo decided to just re-release it. But they added a wave DLC pass to it, so every month there would be 8 new tracks and a new character release. So pretty interesting way that they decided to do that, but people are still happy with it because it's a pretty good game that they updated. And then the final one on there, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is more than likely the final Smash game that will ever come out. And they did a very surprising thing of bringing back every single character that was ever in all the other games that I talked about, and even adding new characters like usual. But then they had a DLC paid pass of a bunch of fan favorite characters that people liked, like Steve and Sora from their respective games. But that wraps up the Switch review. But since this is our final episode, I'd like to just touch on the other 4 and just a quick review for them. The first one I talked about, the Nintendo 64, obviously being the oldest of them, but still widely regarded as one of the most iconic consoles released, and still has some of the better games. The GameCube, the second one, came out, kind of feels like a middle child of them. It's not super popular compared to the other ones, but it still easily has the best controller made for any of the 4 released. And then the Wii, the third one, it isn't loved by everyone, but to the certain people that really liked it, it had really nice motion controls that worked with them and had a bunch of good games, so I still think that was a good release. And then the final one we just talked about, the Switch, obviously being the most popular of them because it was most recent, but still coming out with new games for it recently, and a lot of them have been pretty good releases. But that's it for Mushroom Power reviews in our final episode, but I hope you enjoyed learning about some new games that you didn't know about or seeing them just being played. Thank you.
Hey, welcome back to Pixel Peeps for the final episode of this live stream from NWTC. I really appreciate all of you who have tuned in and stuck around for it, and I really hope that you learned something from it. I don't have a camera to review today, just trying to keep it short, but I would like to mention that I will be making a YouTube channel under the name of Pixel Peeps, and I will be shooting to get that up within about a month, and same with having at least one video going within about a month. As a quick review, I did state that for beginners at an entry-level price point of roughly $500, I recommend the Rebel T7. For intermediate and also mirrorless beginners, if your budget is a little higher, the R10, like what I use. And if you are really getting into professional grade, the R5 or R5C, depending on whether you are more geared towards video or photography. But otherwise, I have one last example of the capabilities of the R10 for you, and then I'll give you a quick wrap-up. Once again, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. I really do hope you learned something, and if you wish to continue watching my content, as I said, I'll be planning to continue Pixel Peeps through YouTube. I don't plan on doing live streams, at least not at this point. It will only be videos, but thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Ways and Means to Eliminate Stress. In the last episode, we touched on meditation, giving you examples of meditation postures. In today's episode, I will play a guided meditation for you. It'll give you the opportunity to test out everything that I've covered in all the other episodes. So with that said, we will move on to the meditation called the bird meditation. Welcome to this guided meditation, an invitation to awaken your true self. Let us use this opportunity to still the mind, the body, and the emotions by taking our attention, our focus within. Now sit in a comfortable position with the spine straight. Close your eyes. Take several slow, deep breaths. Become aware of the body by mentally visualizing it relaxing. Muscle tension melting away like butter on a warm day. Enjoy the feeling of total body relaxation. In this calmness, visualize yourself at dawn walking along a trail in a forest preserve. As you slowly wander down a trail, you observe an injured bird nearby. Quietly and slowly move toward the injured bird. Coming closer, you clearly observe the injury. Now slowly observe the bird closely, carefully noticing details. Aware the bird is in need, ask yourself, what shall I do? Now, after contemplating the situation, aware of your intent and motivation, proceed according to your choice. Know you will remember in detail all you wish to remember. Now, gradually become aware of your immediate surroundings. Begin to move your body. When ready, open your eyes in full conscious awareness. Immediately write down all you have observed. Write down your observations immediately, for they will quickly become distorted and you will forget what actually occurred. Even though you feel in the moment, you will remember. Hi there, welcome back. This concludes all the episodes. Remember, you are the power to change your thoughts and build new habits. We talked about in previous episodes how thoughts can make us sick or thoughts can make us well. One of the means and ways to eliminate stress is by getting out in nature, focusing on one of your senses. This can also be done in the work environment or if you have kids as well. It's not just with nature. In last week's episode, we talked about meditation and the benefits of meditation. It's up to you to take the steps. Be gentle with yourself and trust with your consistency, things will get better. Things will change. Will you choose to behave in the same way, day after day, day in and day out, and refuse to change your thoughts? Or will you make up your mind and use the power of your will to transform yourself? Until we meet again, be good to yourself.